Hello, I'm Robin Bresnott, Director of Brand and Creative at Buyapowa. Welcome to the Referral Myth Debunked, where we're going to explore the true incrementality or otherwise of referral marketing. So, what do we mean by incrementality or incremental sales? If you work in marketing, these are terms that either get you up in the morning or keep you up at night. They're kind of sort of basically everything, because the great unspoken truth is that every brand, product, and service has a baseline, a level of sales that just happen, regardless of any clever marketing activity. Merchandising, loyalty, lack of competition, or big blunders by your competitors, impulse purchases. Sometimes sales just happen. And then there's those sales which do rely on marketing, but it's such bog standard, everyday, business as usual marketing. It's essentially part of your trading furniture. Those sales aren't incremental. They're the sales you expect and budget for, and if they don't happen, it indicates a significant problem. Incremental sales are the chickens no one counted before they hatched, but carefully roosted throughout their gestation. They can be cherries on the top, but again, if you work in marketing and if you're good at it, these aren't just the cherries, they're a big slice of the pie. Incremental sales, put bluntly, it's how you eat. So, it's understandable that marketing people can be wary of strategies and channels that might seem incremental, but while your back is turned, sneakily take giant bites out of other strategies and channels. Cannibal channels. And here at Buyapowa, we've heard it said more than once. Referral might seem great, but all it does is cannibalize sales that were going to happen anyway. Oh really? Well, we wanted to test that out. So we spoke to real consumers across all 5 of Referral's biggest markets: the UK and Ireland, France, Spain, the US, and Canada. And we asked them exactly how referral affects their propensity to purchase, the frequency and value of their purchases, their likelihood or otherwise to churn, and a number of other factors that would definitively prove whether sales generated via referral are indeed cannibalistic, or whether in fact referral is exactly the kind of incubator chicken fans should be buying into. These are the results, and they're compelling. One advantage referral has over other marketing channels is that it provides a kind of safety in numbers. So let's start by looking at the effect it can have just to know that your friends are also into a particular brand, product, or service. Across 3 of the 4 age groups we studied, Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, and Baby Boomers, people said that when it comes to making purchase decisions, that factor makes a big difference. Don't discount Generation Xers from this simply because a big difference isn't the biggest slice of their pie. That's because the size of their "it's essential to me" slice has essentially split the vote. Overwhelmingly, as with the other generations, this stuff matters. Whether it's down to great minds thinking alike or simple peer pressure, we're pack animals, and shopping would appear to be a team sport. Let's drill down a little deeper into why referral resonates so strongly with consumers. We asked people which factors made the biggest difference when they engaged with referrals from their friends. Some of the answers focused on trust, others focused on the rewards on offer. Many emphasized the element of discovery that underpins the most successful referral programs, but the 5 most popular responses suggest that referral can help inspire purchases that may not happen otherwise. I trust my friend's recommendations. My friend introduced me to a better brand than the one I already used. My friend knew I was looking to purchase something similar. My friend introduced me to a better brand than the one I'd been considering. There was a good deal on offer via the referral. Those are the top 5. Now, interestingly, for every consumer who said they were already interested in the brand, product, or service in question, an answer that didn't feature in the top 5 reasons, 3 times as many indicated that their friends had turned them on to a better brand than they've been considering, indicating that referral is more likely to eat into competitor sales than your own. And 22% said their friends introduced them to a better brand than the one they already used. More than twice as many as told us they were already intending to purchase the product or service in question, suggesting again that if there is any cannibalization, it's more than compensated for by incremental switching. Let's move on to how referral compares with other channels, because if it's more effective, that age-old claim that it's just cannibalizing sales that would have happened anyway, that starts to look pretty shaky. We'll move on to digital media, broadcast, print, and paid social in a minute. But first, since referral is just one of many forms of word of mouth marketing, we need to ensure we're not confusing species and genus. Does referral deliver incremental value, or does any form of word of mouth? So to find out, we explored whether referral is more trusted when it comes to purchase decisions than professional or consumer reviews, sponsored social media, and even the brand championing itself in advertisements. Once again, the results are eye-opening. Personal recommendations from friends and family absolutely dominate, dwarfing all those other channels put together. The Emperor's latest leisureware, paid endorsements on social, barely engender any trust at all beyond Gen Z. And consumer reviews are fairly ineffective too, as anyone who's ever navigated Amazon by its stars will tell you. Quick sidebar here. I once spent a year of my life developing a star rating algorithm for the UK government. And let me tell you, the way Amazon does it, it's an absolute car crash. So please, don't let those ratings influence you. The next time you're browsing with Bezos. Anyway, professional reviews are more trusted than consumer reviews and can be more influential on purchase decisions. And that makes sense, because professionals generally sample a broader range of products, putting them in a much better position to say which ones are good and which ones are rubbish. But at only 20% trustworthiness across all ages combined, it's still nothing compared to a good word from your friends, your family, your neighbours, your colleagues. Referral. If the previous slide demonstrated the trust people place in referral, here's where we start calling spades spades. We asked our consumers how much more likely, if at all, they are to actually purchase something following a referral than they would be if they discovered the brand, product, or service via an online advertisement. Now, the results were universally compelling across all 4 generations. In fact, not one single person said that they were no more likely to purchase, with people of all ages indicating they were at least 5 times as likely to shop. The medians are a little higher for Gen X, a little lower for boomers, but generally just shy of 3x. That suggests that for every 3 people who would have transacted following a referral, only 1 would have transacted if they'd seen an online advertisement instead, the other 2 being incremental sales. In most cases, it's probably too bullish to suggest the inverse is true, that for every person who sees an online ad and transacts, a further 2 would transact following a referral. Advertising still commands greater budgets and more marketing focus than referral, so the numbers aren't equivalent. But if referral is prioritized, as it is at brands like the international money transfer giant Wise, referral can easily bring in anywhere between 20 and 50% of all customer acquisitions, making these insights even more compelling. Our data shows a similar increase in likelihood to shop when comparing referral with broadcast media, television, radio, or podcast advertising, a boost of roughly 3x across all generations, slight peaks and troughs between the different age ranges. To be clear, this data doesn't completely disprove the notion that referral can cannibalize sales generated by other channels, but it does suggest that referral is more likely to boost incremental sales than it is to cannibalize existing ones. And it's worth bearing in mind, not one marketing person has ever stopped to think about the potential cannibalization of referral by other channels. In fact, let's play that conversation out just so we can see how absurd that kind of thinking really is.
I think we need to pull our new television ad.
Did it fail the strobe test? Are we making unfounded claims? Tell me Tim didn't leave in the bit where the lead goes, "What's up?"
No, I think it might be cutting into sales from our referral program.
I knew I should have kept working as a barista at Starbucks.
Thank you to our cartoon cast. Look, perhaps a real question we should be asking does referral cannibalize sales after all? Perhaps we should be asking, why do we expect referral to be more hermetically sealed than everything else? The story continues along much the same lines when we compare the likelihood to purchase following a referral with that of print advertisements. This time, in fact, it's slightly more pronounced across all generations, especially among millennials, the first generation for whom print was more likely to mean a command found under the file menu than something crafted with ink and paper. Print has arguably been in terminal decline for quite some time now. Publishing's been on its knees since the turn of the century. I know, I was there. Out-of-home advertising never recover from the COVID epidemic, and the rise of working from home. Leaflets, flyers, and direct mail demonized as much for their environmental wastefulness as they are for their general nuisancy. And yet, all those concerns about print have largely been about its reach as opposed to its effectiveness. Now, our data doesn't prove or disprove that print is less effective than it used to be, but it does clearly suggest that pound for pound, print advertising is now significantly less likely to lead to a transaction than a referral from a friend, colleague, or family member. Which brings us back to social media, specifically sponsored content on social media, which continues to enjoy growing budgets year on year, although that growth is finally beginning to slow. eMarketer projects over $8 billion will be spent on social sponsored social in 2024, growing to over $9 billion in 2025. And yet, sponsored social actually performs the worst compared with referral of all the channels we studied, generating a likelihood to purchase below that of online advertising, broadcast, and print, and 3.2 times smaller than that of referral. We're not saying stop paying for content on social, just as we're not suggesting anyone should abandon print, broadcast, or digital advertising, but the numbers clearly suggest that referral increases propensity to purchase considerably more than those other channels. To return to the cherry analogy I used right at the start of this, it's time to stop viewing referral as a nice-to-have cherry on the top. Instead, it'd be smart to think of referral as a core component that's 3 times as effective alongside other elements of your existing marketing mix. Okay, it's time to tackle some of the core questions around incrementality and its bloodthirsty evil twin, cannibalization. Let's be really clear about what we mean when we say cannibalization. We mean that the customer, we'll call him Dave, was already thinking of buying something, but then used a referral program to earn a reward on top. So the brand has paid twice. First for the marketing channel, which supposedly hooked Dave's interest, and secondly, in rewards for Dave and maybe Dave's friend too. Leaving aside the fact that this happens for all marketing, you don't get a partial refund for a billboard that Dave walked by just because he later ended up clicking on your Google ad. Let's ask people directly. How often have you previously considered purchasing something from a brand that a friend later referred to you? It's hardly a cannibal apocalypse, is it? Across all 4 generations, with a significant increase as people get older, the results show that the brand people had referred to them had only been on their radars less than half the time. Far from cannibalizing sales, referral plays a significant role in introducing brands, products, and services into consumers' consideration phases. And as we'll see next, it's often just the ticket to move them all the way from consideration to the checkout. So, how often is referral the magic wand that transforms a customer who's considering purchasing into a customer who actually reaches for their credit card? Well, it's significantly more often than even we were expecting, roughly 2/3 of the time. Every single person under the age of 60 who we spoke to said this is the case for them at least 13% of the time. And in some cases, a referral tips them over the edge each and every time. But the median values between 55% and 69% really do demonstrate the incremental power of referral, because 2/3 of the time, a referral is just what it takes to move a customer from consideration to transaction. And that is not cannibalization. That is incrementality in its most palpable form. But there are other flavors of incrementality beyond individual sales and pure customer acquisition. Incremental value can also be derived from how much the customer spends, how often they shop, and for subscription or membership-based businesses, the length of their tenure. So, incrementality can mean two things, not just did we acquire a customer, but did we acquire a valuable customer? Let's start with that first element, the amount of money a consumer is likely to spend when they've been referred to a brand compared to what they would have likely spent if they discovered the brand through other channels. Again, this is affected by trust. As we've seen, referral is far and away the most trusted path to the checkout, and a customer who trusts a brand is significantly likely to spend more. Our data shows that while a few people of all generations were unlikely to spend more following a referral, it could drive people of all ages to spend at least 5 times as much. The median increase is about 2x, suggesting that people who were acquired via a referral are twice as valuable as customers acquired through other channels. So if you calculate ROI as value minus customer acquisition cost, you can see the massive difference that referral can make to your bottom line, except perhaps when it comes to boomers, who were the only generation who were actually taught what a budget is at school. As I mentioned a minute ago, for some industries, the bottom line isn't just about customer spend, it's also heavily influenced by how long customers remain loyal. That's especially true for subscription or membership-based industries such as telecoms, utilities, entertainment streaming, insurance, and banking, where real returns don't start kicking in until a customer's been a customer for quite some time. So, how does referral add incremental value when it comes to tenure? We asked people how much more likely they were to stay with a brand if they knew their friends or family were also customers. And while responses range from no more likely to 5 times as likely or more in each age group, the medians tended to level out between 2 and 3 times as likely. A 2.5x multiplier is big news in these industries, especially in areas like insurance, where margins are so squeezed, providers often don't see a return from customers until year 2. But this shouldn't come as a surprise. Referral does more than simply introducing new customers to brands. It binds them into a friend circle within that brand, where their love for the brand becomes interwoven with their love for their friends. On the other side, there are a number of powerful psychological disincentives, guilt, shame, embarrassment, which make it difficult for referrers to be massive hypocrites and abandon a brand having previously introduced their friends. And there's good news for brands where incremental value isn't derived by tenure per se, but rather from the frequency of shop. How often a customer is likely to purchase something. So frequency of shop is all important for retailers, direct-to-consumer manufacturers, FMCG brands, where a lot of profit is eaten up during the acquisition phase. Marketing and discounting and merchandising, sampling. And returns are only generated over a number of subsequent transactions. As with tenure, referral makes a significant difference to this bottom line too, doubling or tripling customers' frequency of shop. Again, there's a spread of highs and lows throughout our data, but it's especially noteworthy that every single millennial we spoke to said their frequency of shop would definitely increase following a referral from a friend. So, to recap, referral has a much more profound effect on consumer behavior than simply introducing them to brands they hadn't considered or helping get them over the line and transact. It's likely to get them spending twice as much as they otherwise would, and at least twice as often. And in industries where it's unlikely additional revenue can be generated by repeat transactions, I mean, how many Netflix subscriptions does one person need? It can increase retention, reduce churn, make a fundamental difference to a brand's overall profit. Now, I know we promised to keep this one short, so I'm not going to have time today to deep dive into each of these industries individually. Energy, insurance, financial services, telecoms, broadband, TV streaming and cable, online retail, sports betting, and online casinos. But our research shows that consumers regard referral as playing an important to very important role in making purchase decisions for all of them. Want to know more? Just reach out to your Buyapowa contact with your specific requirements. In addition to industry specific data, we can provide breakdowns by age, country, income, education level, ethnicity, marital status, and loads more filters. But I do have time to squeeze in one last learning, and it's actually another way to think about incremental value. That is the degree to which marketing channel has an immediate effect on its audience. If a channel plays a part, but that part takes forever before it's realized, it's possible that any number of other factors might play an equal or greater role in their ultimate purchase decision. With that in mind, we investigated how quickly consumers are likely to investigate a brand upon seeing various types of marketing messages. If they take a long time to investigate, it's way harder to argue that the channel has delivered incremental value. But if the effect is immediate, it's much more likely that the channel generated a sale that was incremental and didn't cannibalize one that was going to happen anyway. As you can see from the chart, channels such as print and social media may have value, but it's a super soft value, ambient brand awareness, that may or may not lead to a transaction further down the line. Broadcast, digital, and even search have a more potent effect, but consumers still expect to take days or weeks before transacting. But referrals got an almost immediate effect on people, suggesting that referral above any other channel is likely to deliver incremental value without cannibalizing sales from elsewhere. That's a lot to chew on, right? Reach out to your Buyapowa contact if you'd like a print version of this report. I'm a numbers guy, so I love getting stuck into the detail. If that's your thing too, just shout. But before I hit the button and we all get back to our day jobs, let's quickly recap everything we've learned today. First, knowing that their friends also like the same brands, products, and services usually makes an essential or big difference to people's purchase decisions. That's because personal recommendations from friends are more trusted than professional reviews, consumer reviews, sponsor social, and advertising combined. Referral really works. Consumers are 3 times as likely to make a purchase following a referral than after making a discovery via digital, broadcast, print, or social advertising. And it's nonsense to say that referral always cannibalizes sales that would have happened anyway. The vast majority of consumers have never even considered purchasing more than half of the products referred to them by their friends. And there's more. 2/3 of the time, a referral is just what it takes to move people from considering a product or service to actually purchasing it. And incremental value is delivered through spend, frequency, and tenure too. People spend twice as much following a referral. Subscribers and members are likely to remain with brands 2 to 3 times as long. And customers who discover a brand via referral are likely to shop 2 to 3 times as often than if they discovered the brand via another channel. Finally, while other channels can take weeks before purchases are ultimately made, the effect of a referral is significantly more likely to be immediate. Okay, that's everything for today. Remember, if you've got any questions, if you'd like a print copy of the report, or if you want a more detailed rundown of the data for your industry, just reach out to your friendly neighbor Buyapowa contact. From my side, I love doing these things. I always learn so much myself. And it's been brilliant having you along for the ride today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.